Even when Will and Kate came over and I had met her for the first time, they came over for dinner. I remember I was in ripped jeans and I was barefoot. It's like I was a hugger. I've always been a hugger. I didn't realize that is really jarring for a lot of Brits. I guess I'd started to understand very quickly that the formality on the outside carried through on the inside, that there is a forward-facing way of being. And then you close the door and you go, oh, great. Okay, we can relax now. But that formality carries over on both sides. And that was surprising to me.
Word on the street is that Meghan Markle made an uninvited appearance at Kris Jenner's mansion and she got kicked out. Not only that, rumor is that she tried to make a scene and got completely humiliated. Insiders claim the incident was less of a glamorous drop-in and more of an awkward reminder that her royal past no longer guarantees her a seat at the table. And get this, word around Hollywood is that Meghan is struggling to stay relevant, and celebs don't want to get used by her to get clout. So guys, join me today as we dive into Meghan's latest drama and figure out why the same celebs she was desperate to be friends with now don't want anything to do with her. Now, it's not every day you hear about someone getting thrown out from Kris Jenner's mansion, but when that someone is Meghan Markle, you know it's about to be a story. Word is, Meghan recently decided to swing by Kris's lavish Calabasas estate, completely unannounced, by the way. Now, insiders say Meghan thought it would be a friendly little visit, but here's where it gets messy. Security at the gate had zero clue she was coming. Her name was nowhere on the guest list, and they hadn't been given any instructions to wave her through. Basically, it was the Hollywood equivalent of, "Who are you again?" And let's be honest, that kind of moment says a lot. And to make things worse, rumor has it that Meghan made a scene at the gate before she left. And here's the tea. This wasn't just some awkward social misstep. It was a sign of something bigger. Apparently, Meghan has been losing favor with people in Hollywood after her scandal with Tyler Perry. You see, for the longest time, Meghan has been trying to plant deeper roots in Hollywood ever since she and Prince Harry stepped away from royal duties, hoping to blend her royal allure with A-list clout. But moments like this make it painfully clear that the very circles she's been trying to cozy up to might not be as eager to welcome her in as she thought. Not too long ago, Meghan could have made one phone call and been ushered in anywhere, from Buckingham Palace to the hottest celebrity mansion in Beverly Hills. Now, it seems she's discovering that Hollywood's inner circle is a lot less forgiving than royal society. In that world, relevance is currency, and when it starts to fade, the invites stop coming. Since stepping back from Meghan life, Meghan Markle has been on what looks like a never-ending quest to cement her place in the public eye. She has tried activism, being a Netflix star, launching a podcast, and making red carpet appearances. Like, there isn't anything she hasn't tried. But here's the problem. None of it has stuck. The big cultural moments she seemed to be chasing never quite landed, and her name hasn't been lighting up Hollywood the way she might have envisioned. Many people are of the opinion that the incident at Mama Jenner's house was a high-stakes move by Meghan. She was trying to align herself with one of the most influential families in the entertainment world. But in Hollywood, there's an unspoken code, and crashing someone like Kris Jenner's home without an invite is the social equivalent of stepping onto a royal balcony without the Queen's say-so. The truth is, Meghan's royal past doesn't guarantee her a seat at the table in this new playground. The Kardashian-Jenner empire runs on control, image management, and a tightly curated inner circle. They don't just let anyone into the fold, especially not someone whose public perception has shifted from misunderstood outsider to PR headache. And that's where Meghan's real challenge lies. In a city where image is everything and alliances are transactional, her reputation could be more of a hindrance than a calling card. The moment you're seen as more trouble than you're worth, the doors start closing, quietly but decisively. Thinks that you've seen more traction and likely take tractors and yourself. Now, Kris Jenner has been around Hollywood for a while now. She knows how to create drama and how to make it go away. And her not wanting to be associated with Meghan speaks volumes. Because Meghan isn't relevant anymore. The buzz has faded, and she's finding it harder to penetrate the very circles she was desperate to join. Meghan was so desperate to be part of the Hollywood elite that in January it got revealed that she used her wedding to recruit celebrity friends. Royal insiders say that even back in her star-studded wedding, the glittering guest list wasn't exactly made up of lifelong besties. According to Tina Brown's The Palace Papers, those A-listers weren't Meghan's closest confidants. They were the people she most wanted to recruit. And here's the kicker. Even Oprah, the woman who would go on to host that bombshell 2021 interview, was barely acquainted with Meghan before her big day. When journalist Rachel Johnson asked George and Amal Clooney how they knew the Duchess, their answer was blunt: "We don't." That's right. Two of the wedding's most high-profile guests were essentially strangers. Fast forward to post-royal life, and it seems the friends Meghan worked so hard to pull into her orbit have been quietly slipping away. Amal Clooney, for instance, attended Meghan's extravagant £221,000 New York baby shower in 2019, but in recent years she's been crossing over to the other side of the royal family, launching the Amal Clooney Women's Empowerment Award with King Charles's trust. Even her once allies seem distant. After Meghan's explosive Oprah interview, where she detailed her mental health struggles and claimed a senior royal questioned Archie's skin tone, there's little sign the two women have remained in close contact. And when Meghan's Netflix lifestyle series With Love dropped in March, Oprah's name was nowhere to be found on the guest list. In fact, the show's star power was noticeably dimmer than the Hollywood glamour Meghan tried to project at her wedding. Reports suggest she struggled to book many of her famous acquaintances, making the whole thing feel like a far cry from the A-list takeover she once seemed poised to pull off. Now, Meghan is in the uncomfortable position of chasing access to spaces that are, at least for now, unwilling to open up to her. And that's the part that stings. The visual of a former royal, someone who once walked into Buckingham Palace, being turned away from the home of a reality TV matriarch, is a stark reversal in status. She's straddling two worlds that don't quite mesh. On one side, Meghan champions weighty, important causes, mental health, feminism, and racial justice, building the image of a thoughtful humanitarian. On the other hand, she's angling for acceptance from Hollywood's most image-conscious power players. The clash between those two identities is becoming harder to ignore, and the public is starting to notice the contradictions. Instead of appearing as a confident figure with a clear purpose, she's increasingly seen as someone who's trying a little too hard to prove she belongs. In Hollywood, that scent of desperation is deadly. Now, on the other hand, Harry's post-royal Hollywood dream with his wife is starting to look more like a never-ending PR nightmare. Meghan made him leave the royal life in search of freedom, but instead he's knee-deep in Meghan's high-stakes, high-drama chase for relevance. Friends close to the prince are reportedly worried, not just about his well-being, but about how much of his image is being shaped by having to quietly mop up after Meghan's public missteps. What started as a united front against the pressures of royal life has begun to feel like a lopsided arrangement, with Harry stuck in the role of damage control. The fairy tale escape narrative has soured, replaced by whispers of whether their partnership can survive the constant whirlwind. Meanwhile, the Meghan brand is showing signs of serious wear. The intrigue that once surrounded her every move has dulled, replaced with a kind of public fatigue. Sympathy is evaporating, replaced by eye rolls, and the Kris Jenner gate debacle only amplified that shift. The optics weren't just bad, they were Hollywood poison. Here's the brutal truth about Tinseltown. It doesn't cancel you loudly. It just stops caring. No headlines, no outrage, just a slow fade into irrelevance. And for someone like Meghan, who thrives on the spotlight, that's the real nightmare. Her royal title might still glitter, but in this town, yesterday's prestige means nothing if today's calls go unanswered. Now, if Meghan wants any shot at a true Hollywood comeback, she's going to have to ditch the quick fix approach and play the long game. The days of riding on royal mystique for instant clout are over. People aren't buying it anymore. In this industry, substance trumps sparkle, and the only way forward is through projects that actually connect with audiences on a deeper level. That means creating work that proves she's more than a former duchess in designer gowns, but a woman with ideas, vision, and the staying power to back them up. Right now, the clock is ticking, and the rejection at Kris Jenner's mansion wasn't just a bad night, it was a glaring red flag. It exposed the cold reality that the Hollywood elite aren't lining up to welcome her into their inner circles, and the world is watching that door stay firmly shut. For Meghan and Harry, the stakes couldn't be higher. If Meghan doesn't pivot and fast, she risks fading into the background as just another tabloid cautionary tale. And if that happens, Harry may be forced to decide whether he stays tethered to a narrative that's spiraling out of control or quietly starts carving out a path of his own. Because in Hollywood, relevance isn't given, it's earned. And right now, they're running out of time to earn it. Anyway, what do you think about this drama? Let me know your opinion in the comments. Till next time.